Well, one of the four principal functions of the CIA is to gather intelligence and ideally forward it to the president, the users of information, the policymakers, as they say. There are other functions, however, some of them more legitimate than others. One is to run secret wars, the covert action that's written and talked about so much, like what's happening in Nicaragua today from Honduras. Another thing is to disseminate propaganda to influence people's minds, and this is a major function of the CIA. And unfortunately, of course, it overlaps into the gathering of information. You have contact with a journalist, you will give him true stories, you'll get information from him, you'll also give him false stories.
Did you buy his confidence with true stories?
You buy his confidence and set him up. We've seen this happen recently with Jack Anderson, for example, who has his intelligence sources, and he has also admitted that he's been set up by them. You know, every fifth story just simply being false. You also work on their human vulnerabilities to recruit them in a classic sense, to make them your agent so that you can control what they do, so you don't have to set them up sort of, you know, by putting one over on them. So you can say, here, plant this one next Tuesday. 400 journalists cooperating with the CIA, including some of the biggest names in the business, to consciously introduce the stories into the press.
Well, give me a concrete example of how you use the press this way, how a false story is planted and how you got it published.
Well, for example, in my war, the Angola war that I helped to manage, 1/3 of my staff was propaganda. Ironically, it's called covert action inside the CIA. Outside, that means the violent part. I had propagandists all over the world, principally in London, Kinshasa, and Zambia. And we pumped just dozens of stories about Cuban atrocities, Cuban rapists. In one case, we had the Cuban rapists caught and tried by the Ovimbundu maidens who had been their victims. And then we ran photographs that made almost every newspaper in the country of the Cubans being executed by the Ovimbundu women who supposedly had been their victims.
But these were fake photos?
Oh, absolutely. We didn't know of one single atrocity committed by the Cubans. It was pure, raw, false propaganda to create an illusion of communists, you know, eating babies for breakfast and that sort of totally false propaganda.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
The El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about the trouble and trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
There's a reason education sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever, ever be fixed. It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets, and they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. That's right. They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table to figure out how badly they're getting by a system that threw them overboard 30 years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork, and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later, because they own this place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. By the way, it's the same big club they used to beat you over the head with all day long when they tell you what to believe. All day long, beating you over the head in their media, telling you what to believe, what to think, and what to buy. The table is tilted, folks. The game is rigged. And nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care.
The Luciferians plant seeds through movies, shows, cartoons, video games, news, social media, into the minds of the masses. And then they wait for the right season to bring that which they have given through predictive programming and psychological warfare to come to pass. You know, William Shakespeare once said, all the world is a stage. This is a man that is propagated throughout schooling systems. But did you know that the Freemasons highly esteem him as one of their own? So what if this was coded language? And what if the world truly is a stage where Luciferian actors deceive the masses 24 hours, 7 days a week? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And why is that woe to us? Because you people and 62 million other Americans are listening to me right now. Because less than 3% of you people read books. Because less than 15% of you read newspapers. Because the only truth you know is what you get over this tube. Right now, there is an entire generation that never knew anything that didn't come out of this tube. This tube is the gospel, the ultimate revelation. This tube can make or break presidents, popes, prime ministers. This tube is the most awesome God force in the whole godless world. And woe is us if it ever falls into the hands of the wrong people.
And if the illuminated ones highly esteem William Shakespeare as one of their own, then certainly they would believe the same philosophy, that the world is a stage and they must act and lie, put on shows, and trick the masses that are watching.
Followed the money, I found that it took me up the levels of a pyramid. Here we are at the bottom level going about our daily lives. Above us is government, people who are given a monopoly on force and use it to tax and control us whether or not we agree. But who controls them? At the next level are the corporations. Many would say that it is now corporations and not nation states that rule the world. They call it a corporatocracy.
Did you just hear what he said? He said it is now the corporations that rule and dominate in the world. This lines up perfectly with the prophecy of Revelation chapter 18, verse 23, that warns us about the abomination and how by sorcery will all the world be deceived by the beast. That word sorcery in the Greek is the word pharmakia. It's where you get the word pharmacy. Think real clear. What is from the pharmacy that is being pushed all over the world? But before that, it says that the merchants were the great men of the earth. Those that sold, those who have businesses would be the most powerful people, will be the chief people. That is what it is saying. Prophecy coming to pass, but most sadly don't see it.
At the next level are the corporations. Many would say that it is now corporations and not nation states that rule the world. They call it a corporatocracy. To acquire the world's resources and control the markets, this corporatocracy must have access to cheap money. The big corporations get their loans at special rates from the big banks, which means that those who control the major banks, the moneyed elite, ultimately control the corporations. As I've followed the money, I've learned that almost everything I once believed about money is simply not true.
This would explain why, to the Luciferians, it is so important that everything is done as if it is on a stage. Because as we have told you in documentaries in the past, most of them have been taken down or removed because of the truth within them. But if you have seen certain videos, you would remember that we warned you about sigil magic and warned you about lesser magic. This is when they have to tell you what they're going to do in order to make the spell more powerful. Because the devil knows that you are created in the image of God. He has to get your permission and for you to agree for him to put a spell on you. But you see, there are certain gray areas where they can get away with it. Without telling someone, they're putting a spell on them. And one of these ways is through Hollywood, using movies, TV shows, using video games, news, social media, because the mind is not looking at it as something literal, but to the illuminated ones, they are dead serious. So when you start to put the puzzle together and you see certain events that have taken place, and then you look into the past and find out they were using lesser magic and predictive programming before they did it. One great example would be that tragic day 2 metal birds would fly into 2 tall buildings in the city of New York. But I remember that my life changed when my understanding was opened and the Lord showed me how crafty the enemy is. I'll never forget when I seen this video.
Get ready to read all these words on this page without making a mistake. Look at the letter at the end and remember the sound it makes. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready to read this word the fast way. Get ready. Kid. Yes. Sound it out. Get ready. Kid. Sound it out. Get ready. Kid. What word? Kid. Yes, kid. Boys and girls, sound this word out. Get ready. Steal. What word? Steal. Yes, steal. Read these words the fast way. Get ready. Play. Yes, play. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Let's read these words the fast way without making a mistake. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready. Kit. Yes, kit. Get ready. Steal. Yes, steal. Get ready. Play. Yes, playing. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Go to your speaker. Read it up from what you see. Open your book up to lesson 60 on page 150. Get ready to read all these words on this page without making a mistake. Look at the letter at the end and remember the sound it makes. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready to read this word the fast way. Get ready. Kid. Yes. Sound it out. Get ready. Kid. Sound it out. Get ready. Kid. What word? Kid. Yes, kid. Boys and girls, sound this word out. Get ready. Steel. What word? Steel. Yes, steel. Read these words the fast way. Get ready. Play. Yes, play. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Let's read these words the fast way without making a mistake. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready. Kit. Yes, kit. Get ready. Steel. Yes, steel. Get ready. Play. Yes, play. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Ready. Play. Yes, play. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Kit. Yes, kit. Get ready. Steel. Yes, steel. Get ready.
Are you going to tell me that that is a coincidence? Or could it be the same way the Most High God is very precise, the way he commands things to be done? And he uses certain numbers and colors, and he has a reason for what he does. And if Lucifer wants to be like the Most High, then he is going to operate out of magic power instead of the power of God. He is going to operate out of sorcery. He has to do rituals that open up gateways to the darkness. So while 3,000 souls were sacrificed, the children unknowingly were chanting, strengthening the spell on that tragic day. But you have to understand that we all came into this world and were victimized by the brainwashing and the psychological warfare of the beast system. And this is something that they have been waiting and waiting and waiting for, because everything has to be done in a season of time. So as the highly esteemed Freemason once said, the whole world is a stage. These Luciferians have to continue the movie. They have to continue this great plan. But have you ever wondered why they're so fascinated with the black and white checkered floor? The same checkered floor that a game of chess is played on. And speaking of chess, this is a game that was invented a long time ago. It's a game that takes craftiness. It's a game that takes pre-planning and foreseeing moves and trying to outwit the opponent. It's a game where soldiers are sacrificed for the greater good of the victory. But have you ever considered that to the Luciferians, the whole world is a chessboard, and that the white square represents how they masquerade as messengers of light. The black squares represent who they really serve, which is the Prince of Darkness. And could it be that as they look at the world as a giant chessboard, have you ever considered that they're playing on both sides of the chess game? Have you ever heard of the Hegelian dialectic? What if all of the rulers of the world, kings and queens, presidents, dictators, truly do serve one master behind the closed doors in the darkness?